So in this video, we're going to finish going through the 5.3 practice worksheet. I already went through a couple of these, so you can see the other video that I posted to Google Classroom, but let's go ahead and finish up the other ones. So find the sum of the angle measures of the polygon. Again, I encourage you to use this equation because sometimes I will give you some that are much more difficult than this one, a quadrilateral, or this one, a pentagon. So on your quiz, you might see something like this, where you have 12 sides, and it's not easy to break it into triangles. I mean, for these, you could draw the triangles inside of this shape, inside the polygon. You could make these points at the vertices, choose one of the vertices, and then draw line segments to all the other vertices, and we have one here, one there. You could say, oh, well, I've got two triangles. Each one has an interior angle sum of 180 degrees. So I have two 180 degrees. So I've got, in total, 360 degrees for the interior angle sum of the overall polygon. So some of you will do that. Some of you can just break it into triangles and you'll be fine. But again, when you get to a question like this, then you're not going to know what to do. So I really hope you use this equation on all these problems. So I know it should be 360, but let me show that with the equation. So I've got S equals 180 times n, where n is the number of sides. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. Again, a four-sided polygon is called a quadrilateral. And then I subtract out for 360. And that equation, again, we derived on that, or I derived on that worksheet that you would have done in class, but I didn't want to assign that online. So I put a video going through the other worksheet where I derived this equation. All right, so let's go ahead and simplify on the right-hand side here. We get 180 times 4 is 720 minus 360, and in fact, that is 360. So as I said, I knew I should get 360 degrees based on breaking this down into triangles, but please, please, please use the equation. All right, for this one, we have a five-sided polygon known as a pentagon. So I'm going to plug in 5 for n, so 180 times 5 minus 360. So that is 900 minus 360. So 900 minus 300 is 600, minus another 60 is 540 degrees. So that's the interior angle sum of a pentagon, 540 degrees. All right, number 3 I did already, plugged in 12, and I got out 1,800 degrees. For number 4, it's just like number 5, which I went through on my other video. Again, we're trying to find the interior angle sum. If you add up all these angles together, what should you get? And then we actually add up all the angles, and we are able to solve for x in that way. We're going to do the same thing on number 4. So I'm going to say, okay, I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got a pentagon here, 5 sides. So I'm going to find the interior angle sum by plugging in 5 for n into my equation. And then I'll find that interior angle sum by solving this equation. So 180 times 5, again, is 900 minus 360. So I really didn't have to do all this work because I just did it up here. I knew I'm going to get 540 degrees, but I'm just showing the process, so that's okay. 540 degrees. All right, so that's the interior angle sum. If you were to add up all of these angles, we should get 540 degrees. Of course, we don't know what this one is, so I'm going to set up an equation. I've got 135 plus another 135 plus another 120, another angle there, and plus another angle 80 degrees. And then I don't know the last one, so I'll say plus x. This measure is x degrees, and then they should all add up to 540. That interior angle sum is 540. All right, so combine like terms by adding up all of those values. I'll just get my calculator open here. So 135 plus 135 plus 120 plus 80 is 470. We still have the plus x, and it still equals 540. All right, so subtract off 470 from both sides, and we'll be able to solve for x. There we go. So x equals 540 minus 470 is going to be 70. So x is 70. All right, on the next one, says find the measure of each angle of the regular polygon. A regular polygon means that all of the sides and all of the angle measures are congruent. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 angles on this one. So this is what I'm going to call a 12-gon. Again, in our class, we're not going to go past 10. This does have a name, a dodecagon, but I'm not going to quiz you on that. You will just call it a 12-gon. So you'll have to know all of the names up until 10, and then up till 10 sides, and then after that we'll just say 11-gon, 12-gon, and so on. All right, so let's see what we got here. If we have 12 angles that are all the same measure because it's a regular polygon, so all of these angles have the same angle measure. We need to find the measure of each angle, meaning one single angle. Well, we don't know these angle measures, but they're all the same. So it's like you can call every single one of these x. So we're going to go through essentially the same process as we did up here, except now we don't know all of the angles, but it's like they're all x. So the first thing I want to do is find the interior angle sum, just like I did on these two questions up here. The interior angle sum of a 12-gon, so I'm going to say 180 times 12 minus 360. And I believe I already found that one up here. Yep, so I know I'm going to get 1800. I'm just going to show my work down here as well. So I'm going to get 180 times 12 minus 360. 360 is 1800. 1800 is the interior angle sum of that polygon. So that is if I were to add up all of these different angles. Again, I'm going to call every single one of these x. So these are all just angles with measure x. So you get the idea. I don't have to write x on every single one of these. So I've got 12 of these x's. If I add up all these x's, I'm going to get 12 x's. And their interior angle sum, when I add all of them up, should equal this number, 1800. So I just need to solve this equation and I'll figure out what each one of these angles is. So I divide off 12 on both sides. Get my calculator for that one. So I get 1800 divided by 12 is 150. So each one of these angle measures is 150 degrees. So find the measure of each angle. There it is, 150 degrees. All right, we're going to do the same thing on number 7. So on this one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 angles and 8 sides. That makes that an octagon. So this one, it doesn't ask you the directions to name it, but again, I will be asking you to name them on your quiz. So this is an octagon with 8 sides, which also means it has 8 angles. So in order to find the interior angle sum, I'm going to plug in 8 for n. Let me just break this off of here so I can keep my work straight here. There we go. All right. So 180 times 8. 180 times 8 is 1,440 minus 360. I'm going to take 1,440 minus 360 and get 1,080. 1,080. So that's the interior angle sum if I were to add up all those angles. And again, I'm just going to say that each one of these is the measure x. So these are all just x. Because it's a regular polygon, that means they're all the same measure. So I've got 8 x's. If I add up all of those 8 x's, I get 8x. And when I add all of them up, it should equal the interior angle sum of 1,080. And just divide both sides by 8 to figure out what each angle measure is. So x is 1080 divided by 8, 135 degrees. So it's the exact same process as the previous problem. We just get a different number because we had a different number of angles. All right, numbers 8 and 9. Tell if it is a convex or concave. Remember my little trick in my notes? I was drawing a caveman. If you have a little cave, it's concave. If you don't have a little cave, it's convex. Now the formal definition is for a convex polygon, if you have all these vertices and you try to draw line segments connecting all of the vertices, all the line segments should lie entirely inside the polygon. So that's the formal definition, but the easy way to remember it is if it has a cave, it's concave. If it doesn't, it's convex. So this one right here, it is a line segment outside of the polygon when I connect these vertices, so it's concave, but again, just think of it as it's got this little cave. And this one, it's more like a divot than a cave, but you get the idea. So this one is concave, and this one does not have any caves or divots. In other words, all line segments connecting the vertices lie entirely inside of the polygon, so this one is convex. All right, and then number 10, it says in pottery class, you are making a pot that is shaped as a regular hexagon. Regular hexagon, again, means that all sides and angles are congruent. So a regular hexagon, a hexagon has 6 sides and 6 angles. And if it's a regular hexagon, they're all going to be the same length for the sides and the same angle measures for the angles. So I'll do my best to draw a regular hexagon over here. So I have 6 sides and 6 angles, and all the side lengths are supposed to be the same measure. And all the angles are supposed to be the same. This is, it's my best I can do with a mouse. All right, so all these side lengths are the same measure, or the same distance, and all these angle measures are the same value. There you go, my regular hexagon. All right, what is the measure of each angle in the regular hexagon? Well, we're doing the same thing that we're doing in 6 and 7, except now we have 6 sides instead of 8 sides or 12 sides. So we start by finding the interior angle sum. So S equals 180 times the number of sides, which is 6 because it's a hexagon, minus 360. So S equals, close out some of these. S is 180 times 6, 1080, 1080, minus 360. And I get 720. So the interior angle sum is 720 degrees. But I don't want the sum. I don't want to know if I take all of these angles, let's call them x again. If I take all these x's and I add them up, I don't want to know that number. I want to know the measure of each angle. So I don't want 720. That's if I add up all those angles. So if I add up all the angles, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these x's, so I could write this out for this one, x plus x plus x plus x plus x, 6 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. If I add up all those, I should get 720. In other words, 6x equals 720. So I need to solve for that to find each angle's measure. Let's divide by 6, and I get x equals 720 divided by 6, 120 degrees. And that is your answer to this question. So there you go. So you will have a quiz with some of this material on it on Friday. If you have any questions, you know what to do.